about the big challenges that childcare is facing in our current environment, and have a chance to ask questions as usual. And I'm just so thankful to all three of you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
As Meredith said, I run University Nursery Schools. We have 5 different locations here in Duluth. Between full-time and part-time, I would say we have about 450 children in our programs. And we have about 150 staff. So we serve quite a huge chunk of our community and our population, and we absolutely love that we can do that. I suppose maybe it would be helpful if I kind of point out where they are. Obviously, one is here at UUCD, and that's great. This is our smallest location, our smallest school. We have 4 classrooms, 2 preschool, 1 toddler, 1 infant. Our largest is across from St. Luke's Hospital, and that has 10 classrooms, 4 preschool, 3 infant, 3 toddler. And then we are also in the Coppertop Church, and that school has 6 classrooms, 2 of each age group, 2 infant, toddler, 2 preschool. Arlington is in the Holy Cross Church, and that school has 5 classrooms, 2 infant, 2 toddler, 1 preschool. And our final one is in the Old Birchwood Elementary School at the Mount of Olives Church, and that one has 6 classrooms as well. And since it's an old elementary school, it's actually a really nice layout. You know, all the classrooms are close together and all that fun stuff. So that also has 6 classrooms, 2 infant, 2 toddler. University Nursery School's been around for about 50 years now, I think.
70 something.
Oh, well, I've been around long enough where I've been with University Nursery Schools for 17 years. And Bernie has
about 12 on and off in between 2.
Yeah, so it's been around for quite a long time. And we try to do some really great work in the community, and I'm really proud of how far our company's gone, specifically in the last 5 years. Since COVID, we've made a lot of really great changes in our company that we do what we do. And so my license is actually elementary ed. I'm licensed K-8, and I just kind of happened into early childhood because I had young children. And here I am with my oldest being 19, almost 20, and I'm still here. So, but I think having young kids brings a lot of us in here, and when we're meant to do it, we stay. But I'm going to let Bernie tell a little bit more about herself, and then Jessie tell a little bit more about herself, and then we can dive into childcare and the things that we're facing. And this year has been an exceptionally difficult year, I'm sure you can imagine.
When we thought COVID was trying, then we get something a little bit later. I'm Bernie, short for Bernadette Blue Bird, and I run this university. I originally started at our Coppertop site in the early 2000s, and I worked there for about 7 years. Unlike her, I didn't have children. I got into this on a whim. Like, I worked in an old folks home, and somebody said, "Hey, do you want a wife smaller bottom?" And I said, "Let's give it a try." And I knew I always wanted to work with kids. I just wanted to work with an older age group and work more in like teaching communication skills and how we can better manage our situations and be leaders, not just followers. But I started this and I just fell in love with it, and I cannot seem to get away from it. I thought it was going to teach me how to be a better parent, but parenting is still a whole different situation. But it definitely helped me better understand the needs of children and what I needed to provide to kids. And that has brought me back to this job, just watching kids. My first class graduated 2 years ago, so I went to a lot of grad parties last year. And it's just so fulfilling to see these kids blossom and know that we are pushing them to be whatever they want. So I love this. I started out as an aide and then I was an infant teacher and then I took on directing. And as much as I love directing, I really love being with the kids. You miss it and it's a great opportunity to be in every classroom, so you don't just have to be in one. But I don't know, I just can't say enough great things about raising other people's children. It really takes a community to raise kids, to get that full experience. And it just makes me happy to be able to do this every day and then go home and love my children is just wonderful.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Jessie Antela, and I also used to work for UNS about 6 years ago. Loved it, did. I do understand that it is a special kind of career. It can be overwhelming. If you are called to it, it is for a deeper purpose. It's an important purpose, and it's not for everyone. So in 2022, I opened Young Minds Learning Center, and it was kind of a big turning point in my life. I was getting divorced, my children were getting older. I really just wanted to show them how their mother could be independent and that the future of children is really important. And my daughter also works for me. I was really grateful. She lives in the cities now, but she came up Friday just to help us because we were low on staff.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so it's definitely a family and community kind of career, and it's really great. I don't know if I should continue to introduce myself. I wrote something up that I'm very excited to read. If anyone minds, I'd like to just jump into that. Okay. Hi, my name is Jessie Antela, and I'm a licensed childcare provider in the state of Minnesota. Every day, I'm responsible for the safety and well-being of our littlest Minnesotans. This work is not just my job, it is my life's work. It is extremely hard, deeply important, and I am proud to do it. Regardless of how we vote, we still all go to work. We all raise our families, and we rely on someone to help us care for our children. Families from every political background depend on childcare, just as they depend on public schools. It is the quiet infrastructure that allows nurses to staff hospitals, construction crew to build homes, teachers to educate our students, and small businesses to open their doors each morning. Without a stable childcare system, Minnesota's economy would not function and likely collapse. As public rhetoric continues to suggest widespread abuse within the system, anyone who actually works in childcare knows how difficult it would be to commit fraud under CCAP. The oversight is significant, the documentation required are extensive. The idea that providers are exploiting the system is not only misleading, it is deeply damaging to the already strained workforce. Childcare providers are already heavily regulated. I received my first CCAP audit in 2024, and I welcome oversight. The narrative that provides our The narrative that providers are committing widespread fraud is false and harmful. It puts providers, families, and children at risk. Providers are not babysitters. Most of us hold college degrees. We complete ongoing training and continuing education. We comply with licensing requirements, safety standards, inspections, and curriculum expectations. And yet many of us earn low wages, receive few to no benefits, and work long hours, often while raising our own children. Childcare is funded through a fragile patchwork. Private pay families, CCAP reimbursement grants, or reimbursements and grants, and most significantly, the personal sacrifice of providers. The truth is that many of us subsidize the childcare with our own time, income, and well-being just to keep our doors open. Childcare is a fragile industry. If my center alone were forced to close, 45 families would lose care, 12 people would lose their jobs, and a nearly $98,000 annual business tax would go unpaid. When families don't have care, they can't work. When they can't work, businesses fail and communities suffer. As someone who worked in this field for over 20 years, I can say this plainly. Providers are exhausted. We are tired of being undervalued. We are tired of being treated as an afterthought in the economic discussion. And we are tired of being accused of wrongdoing while holding together a system that allows other industries.
Thanks, Jessie. All of what she said is true, and Jessie and Bernie and I have been advocating with the state for some time now for help, discussions, and more when it comes to childcare. And Jessie and I are usually a good pairing in the Duluth community because I run the largest company in the area and she's got one of the smallest childcares in the area. So even though we are opposites, we're saying the same things. We're having the same struggles. I mean, there might be a few differences here and there, but they're the same. You're going to hear the same things from a lot of childcare providers. And so obviously hearing what Jessie said and probably knowing our community, childcare has been in crisis for some time now. We've seen so many childcare shut.
So many places closed.
Yes, and every single time that happens, it's mass chaos. Families are scrambling to find what they need. People can't go to work. Those children's lives are kind of tossed into also chaos because the people that they learn to love and trust every day are no longer a part of their lives and they're starting over. And I don't think that that's great for anyone. In fact, in our advocacy work we've been saying a lot of all of us are needed, all of us are important. The home providers are important, the large companies are important, the small companies are important, the Montessori schools are important, the nature schools are important. Having a variety of childcares is really important, and it's really necessary that families have choice. I know that we are not the right choice for every. Jessie might not be the right choice for every family. Hartley might not be the right choice for every family. But every child, or every family and every child deserves to have that right fit. And when you don't have that right fit, it kind of causes, like, I don't know what the right word is.
A trickle effect with the education of the child and their worries of, am I gonna succeed in future education? Or worries that, am I gonna fit in when I go to other schools?
Yeah, but even so, the conflict between providers and families, when you have the right fit, that conflict is never there. Like you click, they feel safe, we feel appreciated. It's really great when it's a right fit.
Parents feel comfortable. If it's not the right fit, they are nervous. They are afraid to leave their children. You know, they have to come back if there's behaviors. It's just a big, trickling effect into bigger problems. It is our job to get them ready for public school and for life. 80% of the brain is fully developed by the age of 3. Our job is super important, and having the right fit and having options in our city for our community is very important.
Yes. So I think COVID really changed our atmosphere with, we're no longer in competition with each other because we need each other as a community. So that's really helped the childcare community come together, be able to discuss all of the things that are being thrown at us and all of the changes that have seemed pretty sporadic and just out of nowhere sometimes since COVID happened. And so that part is great as far as not being in competition because we all need each other for this system to work well. And those of us that are in this field truly do care about the quality of care. And we truly do care that our families love that their kids are with us and feel like the kids are safe and they know that they can depend on us every day. So 2026 has been a pretty crazy year. ICE has been The stories coming out of the cities are pretty horrific. I know Jessie had them in her parking lot at one point here in Duluth. It's really made us consider the security at a couple of our locations, here being one of them. But we thankfully, I shouldn't even say I'm thankful, but I guess you are thankful that you're not in the center, because the other providers in the cities, they're traumatized. The kids are traumatized. Oh, we're hearing the stories that are coming out of there, and I am thankful that that's not happening in our city at our schools specifically. I could absolutely, and we are doing things that we never thought would be a part of our job. I have one director who is driving one of her staff to and from home and college because she is scared for her to walk on the street. And that's not in her job description. She's doing that because she cares and because she's scared for that staff. And that is sad. I had to write a letter of support for one of my staff. I have staff from Ukraine, I have staff from Afghanistan, I have staff from the Philippines, I have staff from Sudan. We have staff all over the place, and I'm very protective of my staff and our families. We have a lot of international families as well. And so we are in the moment trying to plan and trying to make sure that we are still providing the highest quality care that we can, while also being extraordinarily stressed and scared for some of the people that we are serving. And that has not been fun this year. It's really sad, actually, because we're here because we care so deeply. And all of that is adding such an immense sadness to the work that we're doing, because we shouldn't have to be scared for the staff that have to pass background checks to work for us, and who have to legally be here to be able to work for us, who are also paying taxes because they're working for us. And same with our families, who are also here legally, who are also paying taxes and paying their childcare and all of those things. And that has been so heartbreaking to watch unfold. I was really thankful that we have been doing this advocacy work, because I called several of the representatives and senators that I've been working with over the last few years, and I said, when my staff is being called into ICE, I need help. And I got it. She wasn't detained in that meeting, but it's not over, and that's scary. So she's just got this, we're processing your paperwork for a month and figuring out, but that's also not something that I thought would ever be my job description. It's not something I had to do, but I felt compelled to do because they're my staff. I am responsible and care for so many hundreds of people in our community, and I could not do something. So ICE has been it's been just scary in our field in general. The fraud narrative that Jessie spoke about and what you read has also been pretty crazy, and we have to do so much documenting and so much paperwork in order to even be able to accept childcare assistance. At our schools, we only have a couple of dozen kids on childcare assistance, but we also are part of the food program, and the food program benefits every single child in our care. It doesn't matter their income. That helps us pay for breakfast, lunch, a PM snack, formula, baby food, all of the things, even if families are not low income. So losing that would affect every single family that we have. And I am going to let Bernie maybe talk a little bit about how it would affect her job if we had to have parents bring a day or raise their tuition again, which we just raised tuition at the beginning of the year because of the new Minnesota break law. And we have to maintain such low ratios. We can't just leave the classroom for 15 minutes, that we had to hire a ton of staff for that. So taking that funding away would make raising tuition again or having our days disrupted.
So, and it wouldn't be for me, it would be for her.
Lord, why do I have to talk about this one? I'm sure back in the day, your parents all packed meals and sent you guys to school with lunch. And back then, you just ate what was ever in your box or your bag. But the state regulates that our kids have a well-balanced meal, and if they don't, we would still be providing all that food without the help of the county or the state. And then we would have to go through every bag and make sure that you packed your child fruit, a vegetable. If you didn't, we then have to provide it for them. And then we have to go around and make sure that all of them have the proper milk. They have to have all of the, and it's just a lot of paperwork. We already do paperwork to track all of the food that they're eating. We have apps that send home so that all the parents know what they're eating. I guess my biggest angle is the fact that we are a community and we spend 40 hours a week with your kids, 40 plus, because you guys are at work doing your thing and we're loving them. So it's a whole family and we all are affected every time that someone is affected. And it's not just one of my families is struggling. The other families see it too. And so they come and they reach out and they worry and kids worry. And for me, I'm like the base of all communication between teachers, students, parents. And so it's my job to really know everybody and all of their situations. And so this has been hard to have parents come in and break down and say, I'm scared to bring my kids here. My daughter said that her friend, his dad is in jail because he got picked up by ICE, or she talks about her not being able to go places and why can't she leave her house, and these parents are worried for their friends and for the other children. It's just hard for me to see the community worry, and you have to come every day and put on that strong face and be like, it's okay, we're gonna get through this. It's not as bad as it seems, knowing that it is hard and it could be at our door at any moment. I guess that's just my biggest. We just love our community and all we want to do is make sure that these kids get the best they can. And this is such a hard time because exterior things that children shouldn't worry about are obvious to them. And that is heartbreaking to me, to know that 3-year-olds worry about their friends or about things like ICE.
Yep. Yes, all the face. So our tuition, families are already can't pay more than what we're charging them. It's so expensive to have childcare these days. And adding things like food, when the convenience really is that they don't have to pack those things. We provide it for them when we're following the adult food program requirements. But they also then would have to be worrying about the same things that we're worrying about, allergies. We're worrying about making sure all of the components are met, and they aren't having to worry about paying for those meals that we're serving and their tuition. Taking away that funding would really put another strain on families. And one of the things that we've been advocating for at the Capitol with our legislators is that there should be a little bit more support. We are critical infrastructure for our economy, for our community. And so, but we cannot keep putting that on parents and straining their households financially. And really, if we paid our teachers better, that only improves the quality of care that the parents are receiving for their children. But the parents can't afford to pay more than they're paying. Every time we raise tuition, somebody is costed out of childcare. Somebody is. And that's not fair either. Every single child deserves quality childcare. And the investment that you put into childcare, it only comes back to you, 7 to 15 times for every dollar that you put into childcare. And so all of those things are pieces of the puzzle, and it really does make an impact. And we want the high quality for parents, but we truly don't. We see that parents can't afford to pay more than they're already paying. Asking them to either provide all of the food that we're providing every single day, and us probably ending up having to say, if you don't have the correct things and we can't afford the citation, you can't be here. That would be hard. Or raising their tuition again to say, we can't afford that. We get $10,000 to $15,000 a month, and so we can't afford to absorb that if that funding is taken away without putting that cost on families. So that's hard.
So when I opened Young Minds, I had parents packing lunches. I had no idea about the food program. There isn't a lot of support either from the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, DCYF, in guiding us. We're sort of at our whim. I mean, there's a lot of other businesses that have so much support and guidance, and we're just kind of helping each other figure out how it works. So I had them pack lunches. I didn't have a cook. I didn't have the right kind of kitchen. So I just went with it and required lunches to be packed. I also didn't realize that if they were missing a component, we had to fill that in. So my first inspection and all of my citations, 3 of them for my very first visit, were all about food. And so I learned a lot that day. But they were still citations that are on my record. And so I wasn't trying to do anything wrong or cut corners. I just didn't realize because the information is super unclear. So then I learned my lesson. Every day I would have to fill in somewhere some carrot sticks or a banana or a wheat bread versus the white bread. And I'm in the kitchen like taking apart sandwiches to make sure it has everything that it needs. Like, it is an insane amount of work to keep up with these programs. So last year, my director and I went through the huge process of getting on the food program, which was awesome. I got to eliminate the food fee for my parents. So that saved them anywhere between $20 and $30 a month. So that was awesome. They were all super excited and super pleased. And then my families that were low income that didn't have enough for food stamps to cover all of that in their kiddos' lunch didn't have to worry anymore. So now we're looking at these single mothers who don't have to pack a lunch that doesn't have all the components. They can have extra time to love on their kiddo in the morning, get to school, get to work on time, less stress on her shoulders. That is the goal, right? Happy families. So the food program then provided us about $2,200 a month to fill in what we were spending on food. So our expenditure is only about $1,000. So it's pretty great. So my company can pay $1,000 to feed everyone there, and I no longer have to charge my families monthly for food that they're already packing and that I'm already trying to fill in. So it is a fantastic program. I think Minnesota should fund it 100%. I think if the federal government is going to play with our funds to feed children, then we need to just not rely on them any longer. And I really, really think through my core as a business owner, all businesses, especially large businesses here in Duluth that have a high number of employees, should be investing in childcare. They really should. There's tax benefits to do it. They know that their staff or their employees will make it to work every day, less stress, makes everybody happy, and then our businesses are thriving even more. But we have huge businesses here that are making billions each year in revenue that are investing zero in childcare. Well, we bust our behinds to make it work. It's time for everyone to invest.
Yeah.
Do you want to take any questions?
I would like to take some questions. And I guess there's just one more thing that I did want to play off of you though. With the support, it really is lacking in so many areas in childcare. When we have a question or we're struggling with something, we can reach out to our licensing agency. We can reach out to YF, and oftentimes you don't get the answers. Or if we're trying to problem solve or we're struggling with difficult behaviors or anything like that, the lack of support for us to help those children is just so difficult because we are not specialists. We have a lot of tools. We work really hard. We try to get the tools, but we did not go to school to be behavioralists. We did not go to school to be speech therapists. We are not doctors. We are not nurses. We wear all of the hats every single day, but we are not the specialists. And the lack of support is really just incredible when it comes to the state of Minnesota and the things that we could be doing to help support these kids.
I think it'd be great if people do have questions, if we could go ahead and take some of those. And I'm just gonna say for our Zoom folks, if some questions came in, I may have lost them. So if you could type them in again, that would be very helpful to me. I think I do see a hand up over here.
Thank you very much. What we public do, I mean, I said the problems, but I can't take care of the Department of Youth and whatnot. It's not my purview either. We have a senator and congressman. So what is it that you want done specifically?
So I actually, because it was something that I think you emailed to me, said, what can the community do? And so that's the last piece I didn't actually super touch on, but talking to your elected officials at all levels that you understand how critical this is important. So if you are, able to send an email, give a phone call about all of the things, right, that are happening in our world right now, but childcare is one of them, then that would be super very helpful. If you have a special skill and you have the time and you want to go play a violin in a preschool classroom, call us. We would absolutely love it. Like giving experiences to children, experiences, yes, to children, it would make a huge impact in them, and especially in winter when we're stuck inside and can't go outside and all the things, So that's something else that would be super incredibly supportive and helpful. Even though it doesn't change the struggles that we're going through, that benefits the children in our community and us. Donations, instead of bringing a bag of books to Savers, bring them to your local childcare. Our kids are really hard on things and funds are sparse. So, doing any of that is super awesome. And if we can't necessarily use them, usually we can find a family who can. If we have too many donations of a certain specific size of clothes, we have low-income children that we can find them a spot. So if your grandkids, outgrew something and you have a bag of stuff you need to bring in, don't give it to Savers who's just going to turn around and sell it. Bring it to local childcare, and they will find a good family to use for it.
Thank you also for being here, and your patience is phenomenal. When the law came down in Minnesota that every school child would get breakfast and lunch, did daycares get any benefits at that time?
No, just the public schools, K-12.
So
or pre-K-12.
that would help you if that.
That would help us a bit, yeah.
All right. Thank you again.
Yeah.
And so to add to that, if you have grandkids, reach out to their childcare, ask your kids what they're getting out of their childcare, what they're not getting out of their childcare. And even if you don't come to us, how can you go to them and start that community that will help the kids grow? Because even if they're not your grandkids, kids love history. Kids will absorb and sit and listen to whatever you say and just eat it up. So just being involved is gonna be like the first step if we can't talk directly to the senators and presidents.
I'm coming over here to Sue for another question, but I just want to emphasize, Channon and I are neighbors, and we were both at the same precinct caucus. We are both going out there to be delegates. This is my first time around the block, so I'm very excited. So we're getting oh my goodness. Delegate, so through the Unitarian Universalist, the Minnesota UUSJA, MUSJA, we have adopted the People's Agenda for Dignity and Affordability for All.
Thank you.
And so last week we had a theme on healthcare. This week we're talking childcare, and I think this is under the affordability. I mean, you could put this under all three categories: affordability, dignity, and community. And so if any of you are also delegates, we can get copies of this so that we're all sort of advocating for universal and lifelong access to care, whether it's affordable childcare, healthcare, safe and affordable places to live. We just need to all be willing possible. So, Sue?
You had made an interesting reference to corporate business investment in childcare. And I'm wondering what that might look like. Would it be a charitable donation by those businesses? Is there some kind of policy that could be generated? Well, I'm just wondering what would that look like?
So, in the Big Beautiful Bill, there is a tax incentive for corporations to invest in childcare. It's called 45F. So the way that I was thinking about it is I would offer 5 spots to multiple businesses for their employees. I would charge them a monthly fee to always keep that spot open for their employees. Then, in turn, I would offer their employee a 25 or 50% discount. So we're helping 5 families thrive. I would offer more. I have a really small center. There's only 45 spots, and they're actually all full. I am working on opening a second location in West Duluth with partnership with a church to help them generate funds from the rent, use their building to bring in more community. So that's how I would do it. That's how I'm approaching it. I'm working towards communicating with big corporations. I will say that they didn't really think that this was needed, didn't really see it as a serious piece of infrastructure for our community. But honestly, I feel like it's a win-win for their employees, for them, and for us. And you know, I have 2 teachers that have bachelor's degrees, and they're making $19.50 an hour with toddlers, and they go home smelling like poop and peanut butter. And they show up every day, and I wish I could give more. I think with a business contribution that is literally a write-off for them, I could give each one of my staff a $10 an hour raise. Could you imagine? Finally. Finally to be compensated for their work. Or I could start to build a retirement fund, or I could look at healthcare. None of them have healthcare if they're over 26 and off of their parents' plan. I recently just got health insurance because I got married. So I was a business owner with no healthcare for the past 3 years.
I have a question. When you're doing hands-on stuff and then kids show up and there's trauma in the home or something happens, arguments or fights at home or something happened with health issues or whatever, and you see that in the child, do you have from a more supervisory point of view, do you have kind of a protocol, and what do you do hands-on? And those, I'm sure there's some variations.
Honestly, we just have to take every case as it comes. because we see a lot. There's so many children, there's so many families, and they're all different. So honestly, we just love them. I mean, we love them to the best of our ability. We are mandated reporters, so your first couple things that you said, they were need to be reported in that aspect. That is part of what we have to do. But I mean, we're not therapists, but we certainly do the best that we can with every situation.
And because childcare is so important, most of our kids are here 5 days a week, 8.5 or more hours. And so we see these parents every day and we talk to them and we know, and like, I had a parent who came in and said they were going through a separation and it was not good on the parents' behalf, and you could see it in the child. And the friends could see it on the child, and it just ended up being that we were lucky enough to have the right atmosphere, that one of our teachers could kind of take that child out for periods of time or take them with a smaller group and just do some low ratio, or just like not a lot of crazy, because there's so much crazy going on in their house that all they need is a couple of friends or some cuddle time on a couch. And yeah, I honestly feel like I probably get 2 or 3 of those a year. You get parents who have an illness and their children now see mom losing their hair or see dad losing muscle mass, and the loss of family or friends. So you see it because you're there every day. You watch the children lose that stuff. And so we just love and love and love, and then reach out to the parents and say, if there's anything we can do, please let us know. We can't be over prying, but we are family and we want to be there for them. But yeah, it happens. It happens.
And actually, I feel like we do think that our families are our families. And so we have been in a situation where I had one of our moms pass away this year. She had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old. We were able to give that dad a scholarship for a while. It's not something that we'd be able to do for everyone, but it was something that we really felt was important in that moment. Their whole worlds were thrown upside down, but also we were able to share their GoFundMe, and we have a huge community. We had families and staff from all 5 of our schools fund me. And so just however we can support our families, we're going to, as a bottom line when it comes to
Yeah, I think one last question over, I think it's you, Therese, and if not, then.
All my children are in their 40s, and when I was a young nurse, Essentia had their own daycare.
They still do.
They still do. Oh, wonderful. I mean, that's what you mean by big corporations
I don't
trying to.
I don't necessarily think that large corporations should also be in the childcare industry. I really don't think so. Because it does get so personal. There can be some blurred lines, if your employer is also your daycare provider. So no, I don't necessarily mean that. I mean more of a financial contribution, so their staff can choose different daycare centers to use like a scholarship at. Mhm.
So would it be more similar to like when companies invest in our health insurance?
Yes.
Or our matching our
Yes.
401ks?
Yep.
And I do agree. I think that employers know that they have families and they should also be investing in childcare, because even though they didn't have the children, they know it's a necessity of their employee, just like healthcare is a necessity for their employee. So even if they just offer that option, like we match your 401k, we would be willing to match your daycare if you can. I think that is wonderful.
Yeah, and actually, childcare is so specific, and there are so many rules and regulations that not just anyone can step in and do it. We are not going to get any larger. We took over 2 that were going to close 2 years ago, and 5 is enough. It's a lot. So as much as our community needs it, and I don't know that they realized what we did in saving the 2 that were gonna close on the brink of 4 others that had just closed. We can't get any bigger. But again, that quality piece means something to us, and we don't wanna just be a factory that sells childcare. We care about our families. But, we were approached at a couple different opportunities to say, hey, we understand that we cannot run a childcare, but we do possibly run one in one of our buildings. And then it's yours. We provide you the space, and we provide, like, you have to make sure our families, my employees get those first priority spots. And that definitely would be an option. And honestly, I think that there are other providers that would be willing to expand if there was more support for providers out there. And I know Jesse is one of them. I no longer am because we already do a lot. And we're very proud of what we do, but I do feel like we would lose some of that personal touch if we got any bigger than we are. And we love our families. So, but there are things that businesses could do. In fact, I'm really been trying to rack my brain because we've been working with, because there's a place on the Iron Range that just got sponsored spots.
It's Chantel.
Chantel's, yes.
Yeah,
But
the little things.
yeah, but what is the company that they're working with? Because we just started working with them.
Pathways.
Rural Pathways. Rural Pathways has been trying to connect employers with childcare providers, because I agree with Jesse. I would love to pay my staff more. We're a large employer, so we have to offer like health insurance, but it's really crappy insurance and it's really expensive. Nobody wants it and nobody can afford it. And so, but there's other things too. But why can't all early childhood providers tap into the Minnesota education system? Health insurance is already there. It would be more affordable because more people opt into it, and it would be better insurance overall. Like there are things that we could do if people were more aware to help things into play. And we can't do it. We're advocating for it, but we can't sign the laws.
Oh, right, yeah, we all have to do it. Yeah. So thank you so much to the 3 of you, to Birdie and Channon and Jesse. It has been such an enlightening conversation, and it's just, your compassion is just like filling the room right now. And I hope, it's always hard to wrap up these conversations. There's so much more we could say. So if you're willing to stay a little bit longer and people can just come in and chat with you further. I know that next week we will be welcoming Chum for March, and they will be our Woven Basket recipient. And so we look forward to that, because next Sunday is March 1st, which is just crazy to think about. But thank you so much again.